Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Services Ops Podcast, the best podcast dedicated to the people, processes, and technologies of operating a great services business. My name is Chris Souza, head of marketing here at Provus Services CPQ, and I'm with our host, co-host, co-founder, CEO, general services luminary, Mahesh Bakshi. Mahesh, hello.
Hello, how are you doing? This is yet another exciting episode. Super good to be here. This is special for me. We have our good friend, our guide and coach from Salesforce, none other than Don Fernando, who is another luminary in this space. So looking forward to this discussion, Don.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll go ahead and set up the theme for the day here. We get a really great opportunity to dig into the quote to cash processes, and we're going to discuss this reimagined approach that Salesforce is bringing to revenue lifecycle management through Revenue Cloud. I think as services organizations, we talk a lot about tech stacks and add-ons and integrations and things like that. And core to all of that for so many services organizations is Salesforce and the products it provides for its customers. So I'm really excited to have Don on to talk about this reimagining of revenue lifecycle management. And he's the perfect guy for it. He's the Senior Director of Revenue Cloud Product Management at Salesforce. So Don, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. And this is an exciting topic.
Definitely is, Chris, and looking forward to the conversation.
Very cool. Well, before we get too deep into RLM, let's just talk about you really quick, Don. Who are you? Where do you come from? What do you do at Salesforce?
Sure. Yeah, a little background about myself. I'm part of the product solutions team here at Salesforce that supports Revenue Cloud. And Revenue Cloud includes CPQ, billing, Salesforce contracts, and now Revenue Lifecycle Management, which is, like you said, a reimagined look at the full QTC or quote to cash process, but reimagined on core processing, on core objects, which is very profound. And, just some more background about myself. Before coming to Salesforce, I was a services leader at companies like Steelbrick and Big Machines. I also did CPQ and QTC consulting at IBM and Deloitte, and I've been in the space close to 20 years. So, exciting to see the innovation progress.
Very good, very good. And I'm sure our customers and our audience, right, are excited to hear about these innovations. So let's get straight into it. Why is this a big deal, right? Salesforce, you've been working extra hard. We know it. We've been talking to you for a bit of time while you've been working on this. Why is it such a big deal?
Well, in the position I sit in, I interact with customers and prospects and partners and analysts, and I collect feedback from the field, bring it internally, and help shape, with our internal development team, the roadmap of our next gen offerings. And honestly, what we heard from the field is that CPQ and our billing offering in the managed package form, did carry best practices. You had to create the opportunity off the account, then the quote off the opportunity, then go through config to start assembling your highly configurable products and services. And from there, we can implement best practices to make sure the proper approvals are in place to really get a clean order out the door. But more and more enterprising and selling organizations want to mix and match the order operations. We want to take that process and maybe even expose a derivative of that into, for other channels. CPQ was built for direct selling motions, but you hear enterprises saying, well, how can I expose bits and pieces of that to my partner community or to my end customer, or even in the self-serve motion, or even an IoT device? And to accommodate for those future ambitions, we had to reimagine our offering, which basically meant take all the operations in the CPQ and billing processes, migrate that to the preeminent cloud platform in Salesforce, which we affectionately call Core, and then at the same time bolster up the capabilities and deploy new capabilities we never had before. And that, in essence, is what Revenue Lifecycle Management, or RLM, or Revenue Cloud is offering today, and that we recently GA'd. which is very exciting.
Yeah. And do we expect to hear that all over the place during Dreamforce in 2 weeks?
Yeah, for sure. And I said it before, but they'll probably put, RLM and AI into our coffees. So we are just buzzing throughout Dreamforce talking about the future of those innovations.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's going to be a fun event for sure.
Yeah. No, so I think let's dive a little bit deeper into what you just said. I think the audience who understands or who are already using your Salesforce CPQ through a managed package, I think they would appreciate the most in terms of moving away from managed package and moving into the core objects. I think that just gives you, like I said, gives a lot of flexibility, ease of, extensions, configurations, customizations. CPQ is such a complex process that, you cannot do that process only in one way. I mean, there's an e-commerce angle to it. There's a channel angle to it. There's a partner angle to it. There's a integration, or you might want to access that through different portals that the organizations may have and stuff like that. So now I'm assuming that what you just talked about, moving away from managed package and this being the core part of the core package, all of this is going to be super easy and flexible for the customers.
Yeah. I mean, the principles and foundations and fundamentals are still there. It's just on a platform that can grow and scale as fast as the customer wants to grow and scale. But the initial steps for transformation revolve around the characterization and attributions you put on your products and services that'll ultimately land on a quote, that'll manifest itself onto the order and order lines, that could transform into asset that rolls up to the account, and also a contract, and then ultimately an invoice.
Yeah.
And that's the power of CPQ and now Revenue Lifecycle Management today, is that the products and service that you identify upfront, and these could be hardware, software, and service line items, with the proper attribution done once in our kind of pricing and product engines, can carry logic through the consuming objects downstream, your quote, your order, your invoice. And that's the magic. And the additional value with Revenue Lifecycle Management is that those major operations on the quote, on the order, on the contract, even in product maintenance and pricing management, are all in engines and all API capable. And that is the other profound capability within RLM, is that all major functionality is API capable, syndicatable, so that if you want to call from an outbound system, to get pricing information, or if you want to run a config session on an existing shopping cart, or if you want to expose your quoting process through a partner channel, that is now more readily doable than it was in the managed lifecycle format, managed package format. So that's the exciting capability we have now.
No, that's amazing. And we have been partnering with you and Salesforce at Provus since our inception, and you have been instrumental in guiding us in terms of what we do at Provus, which is services quoting. So for the benefit of audience, I'm going to build up on top of what you said, Don, which is on back of revenue lifecycle management, you are now automating the sales motion for the software products and hardware products that you are selling, right? And that automation includes your lead management process automation, your opportunity management automation, your CPQ, your order management, your invoicing, your billing, and now you have Salesforce contracts, which is going to be phenomenal because now all of that is on one platform. Majority of the customers that we talk to, while they have automated that lead to cash momentum, the services quoting piece remains on Excel spreadsheets. Like 95% of the time, our conversations with the customers they have automated everything else and it is fantastic, but the services piece is still being done on Excel spreadsheet, which is where kind of we come in. So now, here is going to be the magic, as with your RLM coming in and Provus and RLM being tightly coupled together. not only that you can now automate and take your entire software sales and hardware product sales journey through the automation of RLM, but now we are able to actually add services to that as well. And so when you have implemented RLM and Provus, what it does is you can orchestrate the entire journey through your primary code as part of the RLM process. You add your hardware line items, software line items, and those gets configured using the standard CPQ functionality. But now you are able to add services line items that might be eligible based on the product and hardware product and software products that you have added. Now, the beauty of moving to the core package as opposed to the managed package, because we are integrated into managed package as well today. But the beauty of what you are doing in RLM is now you are able to easily transition for your services line items into Provus, go through the entire life cycle of guided quoting, scenario modeling, a special services related discounts, right? Because typically the services discounts are not as kind of straightforward as your product discounts, because you have to consider scope, you have to consider resource locations, you have to consider resource mix, you have to consider work breakdown structures, the resource ramp down, utilization factors, right? So all of that is something now you're able to do it in Provus. And the beauty of this is it's real time synchronized back to your line item, back into your code that you are orchestrating your entire deal through, right? And so that is super exciting. I think the customers who are selling either software products and services or hardware products and services, or hardware products, software products and services, I think the combined solution of RLM and Provus is probably, for lack of a better word, it's a nirvana for you to truly enable the quote to cash or lead to cash motion for all of the things that you are selling, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I think RLM is the perfect underpinning for enterprises that sell all three types of products. And usually these selling organizations, these are complex quotes, and a lot of moving pieces, and their end customers realize this. But what I hear very often is that these selling organizations and customers are saying, make it easier for us to do business with you, in the form of, I just want one quote representative of all three types of products. I want one order and I want one invoice. Well, that major business requirement, which is an edict from the end customer, can be mechanized and underpinned by RLM with the help of supplementary best in breed kind of, what we call third-party configurators, or, to assist in the RLM value proposition. For service line items specifically, right? If we have a selling organization that sells hardware, software, we have a config capability that could accommodate for those use cases. We could build in the business rules and have the runtime user not think too much, just kind of qualify the deal in a seamless manner. At services, very often it goes beyond just the cursory config kind of attributes that we need. Like you said, they have to do some resource modeling. They have to do some on or offshore evaluation on the resources that will be attached to the project. They'd have to do some cost margin analysis.
Yeah.
Now, the time to build that out in RLM versus using a best in breed or what's already built is likely going to go to an ROI discussion. And the quicker way to get there is, using an extension like Provus to model the service estimate on that quote in a Provus session. And everything you could do there is fine, enjoying the richness of your offering. But the net effect is the aggregate of that line item from which it came off of the RLM bundle will be written back, still allowing for that selling organization to present one proposal, one SOW, and if it makes its way to an order, one invoice.
Yeah.
And just to go back to what I said earlier, because revenue lifecycle underpins the process, every stage in that process is eligible to be reported on, analyzed, and dashed out. So not only does the selling organization get a benefit and accelerate the quoting time, but they get better visibility of their kind of macro process, which can define future transformations into the future. Not only the product level, but also the service level, right?
Exactly. No, this is huge innovation, right? I mean, the entire reimagined platform or the capabilities of RLM and moving off of managed package. I think it's one of the biggest innovations, for the customers who are looking to automate their entire lead to cash lifecycle, and then combine that with Provus. I think it's just, I like to call it nirvana, because that's truly is nirvana, right? In terms of when you're looking to automate this entire process, now you are actually able to, and not say that, oh, well, I'm selling my software and hardware through a fully automated system, but I have a pretty lengthy and erroneous Excel-based process for services. Now you don't have to live in that world. You can just truly bring everything on board.
And
Now, so that's super exciting, and Don, making this announcement for the first time here, and no better platform than you being on this podcast to make this announcement, which is Dreamforce, right around the corner. You talked about two things in the coffee, RLM and AI. So with regards to the RLM, we are announcing our fully integrated module with RLM, which will allow customers to absolutely seamlessly orchestrate the entire quoting journey, add your product, software products, hardware products, and services line items, do your entire services gamut of things through Provus while fully synchronizing back to the line items and continuing the journey, because now you're able to see your entire deal comprising of various components together, negotiate together, create the legal documents together through the Salesforce contracts, and as Don mentioned earlier, just integrate automatically back to your order management systems, PSS systems, any other ERP systems where the information needs to really go. I think all of that is now going to be possible. So we are super excited for this offering, and I think it means a lot to the customers who are selling software products, hardware products, and services together.
Wow, that's an exciting announcement. And as a former services leader, and I'll admit, we used to use spreadsheets all the time. I mean, the value proposition of containing that within Provus not only centralizes a uniform process on estimating your projects, but over time, it's a process that yields data with integrity, can provide enriched transformation initiatives moving into the future, basically intelligence. So when you harness that, you take away the spreadsheets and put it in a central location, it reaps more benefits into the future.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. You talked about data integrity, intelligence. So I'm hearing there's a tail end of your RLM, which is the second ingredient you mentioned in the coffee, which is AI. Let's tell us more about that.
Well, the thing is, when I hear customers wanting AI, it's great because those are great ambitions, but it's a process to get there. It takes a process to get there, I should say, right? And RLM with Provus is part of that solution, right? In the process, you could trust it's going to be repeatable and also consistent and reproducible, meaning the data within it and all the transactions, even the won and closed lost quotes and opportunities are going to be perfect data sets for AI to consume, to do predictive modeling, to maybe even subject to LLM models, so they could reshape the wording or the proposal or optimize your rate cards or your margin controls for different SKUs. It's one thing to start initiatives in a knee-jerk reaction, but it's another thing to transform with data accumulated through transactions over time and have an AI sift through through all that data to basically find the insights.
Yeah.
And that's the position of what we do, right? Like we have data cloud downstream, but you could be assured that through the RLM process with a Provus incorporated in it will be a tributary into that data lake with fresh water.
Yeah.
That data is going to be clean and you don't have to refactor it. And that is stable data where you could kind of put solid intelligence off of. Some of the things that you hear about Dreamforce is, like on the quote, we have, price optimizations. We could use prompts for next best actions. In the contracting motion, we have AI leveraging OCR to scrape unstructured data into our structured data. We also have RAG searches so just common language search to go out and look at unstructured data on PDF documents and return that in the return results. The point is, Salesforce is not only making heavy investment into revenue lifecycle management, but also the AI user stories that will be incorporated into it. And that is what you'll hear at Dreamforce for sure.
That's amazing. Looking forward to that. And to that extent, I mean, you have seen this up close and personal in terms of when we talk about CPQ, one of the hardest challenge that customers have is getting their handle around the data, because by nature, CPQ is a very complex process, right? And when you're automating to think through structuring the data, not just to automate your process, but also how you are going to leverage all of the analytics and AI technologies to really let them come back and, all the lessons learned from everything that you have sold. How do I do my next deal better? How do I negotiate my next deal better? How do I make sure that I'm not leaving money on the table? How do I make sure that my margins are optimized to the best extent possible, right? I think that has been a massive challenge. I mean, last 15 years, customers have struggled to get the process or struggle to move off of Excel spreadsheet and automate the process. Now, the next, 6 years, rest of this decade is going to be all about, hey, automation is, 1.0. Now we are in 2.0, which is how do I now make use of the data and all of the efforts that I've done to structure my data, right? And to that extent, Don, I want to make our second announcement here ahead of Dreamforce. We are just doing this announcement sooner because I know we will be lost in Dreamforce, and so we are just using this opportunity to make our announcements here. But the second announcement is we are using Salesforce's CRMA and Einstein Cloud to enhance how the seller or the personas who go through the services estimation and quoting journey. So I'll give you I'll walk you through how it would work. And thanks to CRM and Einstein technologies, it has made our life so much easier, and we are pretty confident that it's going to make our customers' life easy as well. So as a seller today, I go into Excel spreadsheet, I somehow put my first base level quote together after a lot of effort and a lot of errors and a lot of frustrations and stuff like that. Obviously, all of that is going to be simplified now with the RLM and Provus. But now that I've put my first quote together, on an Excel spreadsheet based process, I have no insight. Should I be happy about what I put together? Or should I, is this a crap? I mean, what if my other 100 colleagues across the organization have sold deals much better than what I am selling? Right?
Yeah.
And so now, first and foremost, we bring the visualization together through CRMA, right? So now you have beautiful visualization in terms of all of the key elements of your deal. Now, some of our customers are very large. They are billions of dollars in revenue. They put like 5, 10, $15 million deals together, multi-year deals. So there are a lot of different elements of resources, resource mix, scope, services, work breakdown structures, right? All of that kind of stuff. Now you're able to visualize what are the key elements of your deal that you have put together, rather than going through a lot of gory details of, what is my scope? What are my scope parameters? What is the resource, structure? What is the ramp look like? So now that I'm able to visualize, the next thing we do, and we call this our D2P2 strategy, Don, which is descriptive, diagnostics, predictive, and prescriptive. Again, we use CRM and Einstein technologies behind the scene. But now I'm able to ask the system saying that, hey, so I see where I am at, but where is this deal compared to all the other similar deals in the from the attribution standpoint, like similar customer, similar industry, similar geography, all of those attributions. Where is this deal compared to what my colleagues and what my organization has been doing? Now, you all of a sudden, again, beautiful visualization. I wish I was able to show it here, but it will come through. But now you're able to see side by side my deal and all the other similar deals, right? And again, thanks to CRMA, but it's so beautiful that now I'm like, okay, no, that I shouldn't be happy about the deal that I put together, because it doesn't stack up to what my organization has been doing. I'm off by 6 margin percent. I'm off by X amount of revenue and stuff like that. Okay, so what's next? Okay, now I know my deal is not great. So the next thing that you ask the system is like, hey, so where can I improve? This is where we actually put our sold data and the realized data that we bring from the backend fulfillment systems such as PS and ERP, put that through our Einstein model. And now, like you were talking about next best action and stuff like that, now Einstein is able to tell us that, hey, if you reduce your duration by 4 weeks or 8 weeks, if you reduce your margin by 0.04% or 0.4%, and ABCD, set of action items that you do on this deal, your win probability is going to go up by 6%, right? And that's what your organization has been doing. Great. So now I know, what I need to do. Nirvana is, I don't have time to do all of this stuff. Just tell me a scenario that I can take it and push it, right? So now this is where our last part of our D2P2, the prescriptive model comes in, where you are now able to say that, okay, I want this much margin, I want this revenue, I want, my parameters, I cannot go onshore, offshore ratio should not be more than 40, 60, 50, whatever it is. And now system is looking at your parameters, looking at all your stored data, all your realized data, and now giving you a scenario saying that here is the best optimized scenario for your revenue maximization, your margin optimization, and your win probability and deal risk. Because if deal is no good, if you put everything together, look fantastic, but the risk that you are taking is tremendous, right?
Yeah.
So all of that is considered in this model called prescriptive. And so that D2P2 strategy is we call it our Provus intelligent module. That's also being launched during Dreamforce. And that's where we drink the coffee with AI all day long. But this is exciting. And all of this is possible because of obviously the Salesforce platform, the technologies, but what it means for customers to truly embrace the automation journey. When they say lead to cash automation, this is now going to be complete journey for customers.
Yeah, I think you said it well there, because you're playing with fire if we're talking about user stories at that level. There is a maturity, like spectrum on where services organizations today is. I mean, step one for sure, bring it all on platform, bring all the processes, all the data on platform. Step two is exactly what you're talking about. Now that you have the process adopted, now that you have a accumulated set of transactional data, let's start fine-tuning, leveraging AI with the data that you have. And what you're going to find is, yeah, deal-specific, like toggles that you can switch on to increase the probability of success. What you also have is, a stack of completed projects versus what it was estimated at front.
Right.
And that could be the kernel of truth for the service organizations to optimize their rate cards or their initial resource offerings, given the context of the quote of the opportunity of the account.
Right.
Yeah, it is. But when we have a shared interest to get customers to that level of maturity on the adoption spectrum, because at that point that they are playing with fire, and that starts drawing the moat around their organizations, because the quicker they get there, the better, the better they could plant their flag in the ground and have that be their differentiator in the market.
Absolutely. 100%.
100%. Well said. And just like that, we have reached the end. I know, right? We can probably keep going for much, much longer, but we've reached the end of this particular episode. And let me just wrap something up for our audience really quick. When you hear about technologies that are going to allow you to spend less energy, time, and effort on technical configurations for automation, all of a sudden that creates space in your organization to start having different conversations or better conversations around revenue or margins, or how you're going to bring AI into your process, like Don started, right? So as a services organization, when you start thinking about this reimagined revenue lifecycle management with Salesforce, or you start thinking about services-specific technologies like Provus or wherever else in the process is going to be, start thinking about the future as well. What's that going to mean for your organizational development, how you sell products and services together? How are you going to use AI? Because you're going to have free time on your hands, right? You're not just going to be talking about, this thing broke over here and we got to fix it, right? You're going to be talking about your business. Like Don said, build that moat. So that's a really important takeaway. I think we want to make sure everybody in our audience takes. Other takeaways are, go to Dreamforce and be excited if you're able to. If you can't, there are digital ways that you can find content in Dreamforce as well. Visit Provus at booth 410. Don has a number of sessions at Dreamforce that you can attend, and I'm sure you can go to his LinkedIn and find what those may be. But until then, Don, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Great insight as well, and also thank you for being such a great partner to us. And for our audience, like, subscribe, do all the things, share with your colleagues. Lots of really good information on what's coming, right, in the future. So you definitely want to make sure your colleagues are aware so you can all be on the same page. And then go out and be a fearless services leader.